Sup, fellow Zionists? Welcome back to my channel. Yee yee! Okay, so, yesterday was not a good day. I'm just gonna jump into it. So, woke up around 9:30 yesterday. I'm talking to Maggie. I'm texting Maggie. I'm on the toilet. We're talking about Franco. No, the reason we're talking about Franco is because I've been having nightmares lately. And I don't remember anything about them. I just remember that they're terrifying and they involve Franco somehow. And so I woke up thinking of Franco because I had a nightmare, didn't remember anything except Franco was there. So I'm on the toilet, I'm texting Maggie, and I'm like, I miss Franco. And she's like, I miss Franco too. I don't want to say anything, but I miss him too. And so then I'm feeling very sentimental and very sad that I don't have my partner in my life anymore. So I'm looking through our text, me and Franco's text, from before we broke up. And I'm getting real sad, getting real sentimental. And I'm just hit with all of this grief for the first time since we broke up. And I'm not really panicking or crying. I'm just really lightheaded and I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I was getting really dizzy. And so I text him. Not a long text. I just text him a couple of things and then I apologize for texting him because, he made it clear that don't talk to him until he reaches out to me. And so I'm feeling really bad after I do that. So I'm me being the amphetamine addict that I am, I was like, how can I get out of this situation? I didn't decide on meditation. I didn't decide on taking a walk or taking a jog. No, I decided to Google. I had this novel idea. I was like, can you smoke Adderall? So I Googled it. I said, can you smoke Adderall? And they said, no, don't smoke Adderall. You take it sublingually. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? So I Googled sublingually. It means taking it under the tongue. And so, I've been, on Adderall for a good decade now. And, I've been abusing my Adderall prescription for, about a year now. And somehow I didn't know about this. And so I was like, let's try it out. Crush up an instant release tablet, put it under my tongue. And girl, I do not recommend. I'll just say I do not recommend doing that. Cause girl, I got cuckoo crazy. I felt manic. And usually, an Adderall buzz is not like a manic episode buzz. An Adderall buzz is very intense, very go, 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 which is similar to a manic episode buzz. But mania to me feels like I can't control myself. I can't control my thoughts or actions. I have no hold on the things I do and the things, my feelings. And so I felt manic very quickly. And I was like, what the? And so I'm filming myself, And so usually when I tend to have manic feelings, I always film myself. I never share these videos. They're just sort of for me. I never watch them back. I just, for some reason, talking to a camera grounds me during these kind of scary times. But then as I'm filming, I'm like, I'm going to cut myself. And so I pull out a razor and, I have a bunch of razor blades because I was going to get into single blade shaving. I forget what it's called. 4 or 5 years ago. So I bought a bunch of razor blades, but I never use them. So they're just in my room. So I take one out and I just I've never cut myself in my life. I'm not a cutter. That's not how I've ever coped. So I don't really know what I was doing. So I just, I stuck the razor into my arm, pressed it down really hard and just slowly dragged it across my arm, lifted it up, and I looked at it and I was like, huh. And so here's what I don't know, can you see it pretty well? And so I looked at this thing. I was like, that's weird. And it wasn't bleeding at first because it was a very deep cut. And then it starts bleeding. And the second it starts bleeding, I'm like, what the fuck I'm like, girl, what the fuck did you just do, bitch? And so I'm like, okay, I gotta fucking take care of this. I take a washcloth, put a washcloth down, and tie it tight with some gauze. And I'm like, okay, maybe this'll, really tight. And I'm like, it'll stop bleeding in an hour or so. And then, so I'm still very high, And so I I start thinking like, I'm gonna do something productive. I'm gonna email some literary magazines and see if they need any volunteers to like edit or do anything. And so I'm looking up Chicago literary magazines, and I'm trying to do this, but my laptop screen, like I can't see, like I can't focus on the screen. Like everything is spinning, and I'm getting so frustrated. So I just like slam it down, and then I go take a bath, and I'm sitting in the bath, and I'm like, it's been like maybe 45 minutes to an hour that I've had the washcloth on this cut. And so I'm like, okay, let's see if this has done anything. And so I unravel the gauze, take off the cloth, and it's like still bleeding, like it has not congealed whatsoever. Fresh blood is still coming out of it. And like, I'm looking at it now and I'm really looking at the cut. It's like split skin. Like it was a gash. This wasn't like a surface wound, girl. Like my skin was open. And so I'm like, okay, we got to do something about this. And so luckily my mother is an OT, a hand and like arm OT. So she has like medical supplies all in our bathroom. And so I'm looking through the cabinet in the bathroom, and I'm like, what the fuck can I find here? And I take out, a couple of little storage baskets that were full of gauze and like what is it called when you the kind of like beige, like it's not like tape, but it's like cloth. It's kind of like sticky, and you use it to wrap gauze around your arm. And so I find that, and then in there I find steri strips, and I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. And so I've never had to use steri strips, but if you don't know what a steri strip is, it's basically like these things. When you have a deep wound, you put them on and you pull, and they hold the skin together. And so I, look up on YouTube, like, how to use steri strips, and I'm like, okay, let's just do this. And I'm like, and I close up the wound, put some gauze on it, wrap it up. And so that happens. And I'm like, girl, you need to, you need to calm the fuck down. You need to center yourself. You need to get to a safe place. So I go into my room, right? And I start looking up hypnosis videos on YouTube, because I've been experimenting with hypnosis lately as like a meditation practice. Just I've been doing like how to get in touch with your emotions, because it's a whole human design thing. I have an emotional authority, yada 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 yada. And so I've been doing other things like, I don't know, release, surrendering, just like surrendering control, blah 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 blah. So I start going through all of these hypnosis videos, and like I'm doing that for maybe like 2 hours. I'm going through all of these long hypnosis videos, and I feel fairly good. I've calmed down. But then what pops up in my recommended after I get done with one of the hypnosis videos is like age regression hypnosis. And if you guys don't know what age regression is, it's like using hypnosis to get into a mind space where you are a child. And so I'm like, that sounds fun. And so I do it. It's like a brief 20-minute hypnosis. And girl, I don't know, like I was in what I've learned is called little space, where like I'm like, I'm a little baby. I'm a little baby. And like that hypnosis worked, bitch. And I was there for like a couple of hours, just like in my room, like acting all like juvenile and not even like a real child, just like me and Maggie, me and my good Judy Maggie, we have this inside joke from back in the day. We did spelling bee at our high school our senior year. And at callbacks, one of our good friends at the time named Shannon, she was reading for the part of Olive, which is kind of like the main child character in spelling bee. And so our musical director at callbacks, Shannon's reading a scene for Olive. He goes, okay, Shannon, good. Can you just read it a little younger? And Shannon goes, wait, the line is something like, my dad had to go to work. She goes, my dad had to go work. And Olive is supposed to be like, like a child, but she's supposed to be like 9 or 10, not like 3 or 4 years old. And so that's very much how I was acting for like an hour and a half, 2 hours after I did this age regression hypnosis, where I was just being like, I'm a baby. I'm a little baby. And then I'm starting to come out of that, and like it's starting to leave my system, my mind. I'm becoming, I'm getting out of little space, if you will. And then I start, and then I get the idea. I'm like, hypnosis is kind of fun. And then I remember, like, you ever go on Pornhub, and like you see those videos get recommended to you where it's like slave hypnosis training. And so I was like, I want to try one of those. And so I'm like laying in my bed doing like a 45-minute like slave hypnosis video. And they're so corny. They're like, you live for cock. You will lick your master's pits. And like I'm watching those, and like I'm doing that for like 45 minutes, and then like I come, and after I come, I'm like, what did I do after that? I think I went to bed after that, because I think it was around 8 o'clock at night at that point, and I went to sleep. And then I woke up around 10:30 again. I call Lucas, and oh yeah, I started like dissociating. And like that's another thing that like I don't do. Like I'm not a girl who dissociates. That's never been something I've experienced. But like Lucas is talking, and I sit up in my bed. It's dark in my room, and I swing my feet off the bed. So I'm halfway off my bed, and I get this thought in my head. I'm like, what's my name? And I say to myself, my name is Marco, and then my last name. And that like shocked me. I was like, what the fuck? And then I do that, and then I start looking around my room, and I'm like, this is my room? Huh? And then I go to my window to smoke a cigarette. And I'm like, and so when I smoke a cigarette, I stick my body pretty much completely out of my window that's like facing the street. And so I light up, I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm looking at the street that my window is facing. And I'm like, this is where I live? And it was just such an odd feeling. And I'm trying to verbalize all of this to Lucas, but he does not care. Like, he's so flippant, and I'm just like, and that was really pissing me off. I'm like, can someone just acknowledge that, like, I have not had a great day today? And so I'm like, okay, Harlan will have something valuable to say. So I'm just like, I'm gonna call Harlan, goodbye. And then I hang up on Lucas, and I call Harlan, and I'm like, Harlan answers, and I'm just like, let me just get all of this off my chest. So I recounted my whole day to Harlan, and once I got it all out of my system, I, verbalized all of it. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I feel so much better. And then Harlan, this thought hadn't occurred to me, but Harlan, after I got done saying it, he was like, girl, I think you just had a really bad trip. You just had a really bad trip, girl. You're high. You got high, and you had a really, really bad trip. He's like, I don't think this is nothing for you to worry about. And he was like, you've been doing really damn good the past, like, month. And he just said, like, you just had a bad trip, bitch. And so we started talking, and, talking to Harlan always just, he grounds me. That is my soul sister, Miss Harlan. And so I'm talking to Harlan, and I calmed down, and it's so funny. I felt so, like, wired and awake all day, like, unable to sleep, unable to, like, relax. And, like, as I'm talking to Harlan and I got all of this out of my system, suddenly I was just like, girl, I gotta hang up on you. I'm about to pass the fuck out. And I did. I passed the fuck out after I hung up on Harlan. So that was yesterday. I learned a very valuable lesson, which is just, the universe caught me slipping. So I got to be more vigilant about taking care of myself. And so tonight I have a date with a guy I met off of Tinder. Lucas said he looks like a sim with a lot of custom content, and he does. Very sweet guy. And he has a huge, fat cock. So I'm excited for that. And then I have another date tomorrow with an older gentleman, not like old, he's like 28 years old, who is pretty much just me, but older, and that's going to be fun as well. It is very nice that I have two guys that seemingly want to date me. Whether or not I end up dating either one of them is, who gives a shit, but it was nice just because the past couple of days they've been very kind and compassionate towards me. They seem invested. They check up on me throughout the day. And I'm not used to that when it comes to romantic pursuits. I'm not used to feeling like the other person is invested in me. And certainly after this whole Lucas saga, like, it is very nice to have someone who is invested in you, who is not confused, I will say. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know, I don't got much more to say. I guess I'll just leave you by saying, like, this may seem worrying, but I'm okay. I really do think yesterday was just a bad trip. And I learned my lesson. I don't know. We out here. Okay, goodbye, everyone. I love you very, very much. I'll talk to you soon. Wish me luck on my dates. Bye. Love you.